Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. Jamie, could you establish a quorum, please?
Yes, absolutely. Commissioner Buckles,
Here.
Commissioner Trapnell,
Here.
Chair Cohen,
Here.
and Vice Chair Olson.
Here.
We do have a quorum of 4 commissioners present.
Next is the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so it's very simple. Let's see.
Then there's a light so that you can tell it's on.
I got a lesson earlier, but.
Just the button. There you go. Yep. Oh, it's a slide. So if you push it up, it's on, and then if you put it down, it'll be off.
Very nice. Are there any public comments not on the agenda?
So we did not receive any public comments. No comment cards have been turned in. And we do not currently have anyone that has sent anything in. So we are okay to move forward.
Okay, so the first item are the minutes. Do we have a chance to read them? Second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. It's unanimous. Yeah. Thank you. Next.
So the number 2 is the meeting schedule.
Oh, the meeting schedule, yeah.
Yep. So, in front of you are the dates scheduled for 2025. And I can put that up on the screen as well too.
She'll put it up. Oh, okay. It came on your, in your packet. It's just a one page like this. On page 6.
Okay.
6.
So I will go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so that everyone can see. This is what was included in the packet, and it is listed up here as well too, so that everyone can see. So it does list all of the dates for calendar year 2025. The few things that I will note on the schedule. So the first Monday is planned as normal. The way that the holiday falls in January, we are still able to hold the meeting the first Monday of January. So it will be on the 6th. All, basically through June, all of the scheduled meetings will be on the normal schedule, which is the first Monday of the month at 3:30. There is no meeting in July, and that is true for all commissions. Then we go August, and then September is the one that is usually needs to be adjusted because of the Labor Day holiday. So that is adjusted to the following Monday, which will be Monday, September 8th. That will be a special meeting. Then we have October and November as normal, and then no meeting in December. So that will be true this calendar year for 2024 as well. So this will be our last meeting of 2024. So that is what is proposed for next calendar year 2025.
I want a motion to approve.
Yes.
I move that we approve the meeting calendar as presented. No second.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Now to get to the work plan. So I just said before the meeting that everyone's not here, they're gonna be put in Do they submit their names ahead of time?
So a few things to note, what was included in your packet and sent out last Friday. You will note there is a slight adjustment to the format, and this is the new format that will be across the board for all commissions, for Los Altos. So you will note on the left, goals is still the same. That was an existing column. I will put this up on the screen so that everyone can see. There we go. And so it is up on the screen. We have goals on the left, and in the, what the commission had wanted to do is keep the domains as those goals. Projects are still the same, and those can be specifically identified projects within those domains. Due date is still the same, so anticipated of when the project might be completed. Priority or source. So this is additional information. So if you, it is aligned with a council priority, or if it came forward through a different means like community input or things like that, so that we can identify where the project came from. Yes.
When I looked at that, I thought that the second one, the source would be the council goals or some other source. But on the priority, I wondered if we could have a scoring system, or is there a scoring system for that priority, like 1 through 5 or something like that?
And that could be, and what the intent was behind priority was it meant council priority. So I can adjust that so it lists that more clearly.
Sorry. So what would you repeat again where the priority is going to be listed?
Here.
Would you repeat again where the priority is going to be listed?
Yes, so it is, if you look, I'm going actually column by column across.
Okay.
So goals,
Yeah.
project, due date, and then priority source. Basically what council priority it aligns with, or what is the source of the project. So if it was a specific project, either through, as an example, for transportation, when we talked about the letter to road runners, it was kind of specific to community input that that commissioners had heard. So that was at least the indication for that particular column. Then we have the status, whether it is in progress or completed or not started. We can indicate that specifically for the project. Assignment, so who particularly on the commission, if there has been an ad hoc committee or someone that has been assigned to that particular task or project, and then any notes that are needed. So there are a few more columns than we have seen in the past, but it is all to provide context for the information. Then you will also note the next page, which is the calendar. So this is additional information for the commission. So your work plan should be based upon work that should be completed over the course of the next year. And the term year is from October through September of 2025. So you will note, as you can see, October and November. And there have been a few things that I projected out, because we talked about the health fair being part of the conversation in January. But that was the next part of the work plan, so that the commission can look at a timeline for when they anticipate some of these topics or projects to come forward. So this will help look at what can be agendized for those meetings, so that March doesn't have 12 things that you might want to accomplish, and so that it can be spaced out amongst that next term year. So those are the particulars for the work plan. And again, this can be a living document as tasks come forward for some of the projects that you identify. We can adjust and add those to the work plan, and obviously update it as things are completed. The last piece that I will share, and additional training will be provided at your meeting in January, but I wanted to provide some additional information on subcommittees, specifically for assignments. So we do have the ability to create an ad hoc subcommittee. And a few things around that. Obviously, it has to be less than a quorum. So for the senior commission, it can be no more than 3 members, because a quorum is 4. And that would create an actual meeting for the senior commission. It does require a formal action by the commission to form. So it does need a motion, a second, and approval by the commission to actually create the ad hoc subcommittee. It should be specific to a project, so a specific task. It shouldn't be ongoing with just assigning a committee to a large topic like transportation. It would have to be specific, like looking at a specific, like the feasibility of, maybe a partnership with, a shuttle company, or looking at, so it should be a specific task or project, because standing committees are not allowed. And then it should have a certain end date in regards to the task. So again, not standing and ongoing, it should have a specific end date. And for that ad hoc committee, correct, a specific timeline. And then once the task is complete, it does require that committee to do a report to the full commission so that that task can be determined completed. Now, interesting, there is another subset of, I'll just call groups that you can form, and they're calling them working pairs. So just as the title calls, it's a smaller group, 2 or 1, that is not, it's more of an informal working group. So different than an ad hoc subcommittee where it requires formal action. This can informally, and it can be a specific task within a project. So as an example, let's say that the senior commission wants to form an ad hoc subcommittee for the health fair and working on those event logistics. You could assign a working pair, doesn't require a formal action, to say, create a flyer, or to reach out to certain vendors to see if they're available. It's a smaller task within the larger project. Again, the working pair does not need to be a formal action by the commission. And in addition, different than the ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committee, you can only serve 1 at a time. Working pairs, you can do as many working pairs as needed, but again, you should only talk about the task that you've been given. So again, part of that is to not create, per the Brown Act, those serial meetings where, again, the conversation should be specific to the task that you've been assigned. So I wanted to clarify and provide that information so there is a little bit more flexibility. I will be doing a formal training. There will be a presentation in January. I just got all of the slides. Otherwise, I was hoping to get a little bit earlier, but I just got the slides today. I need to update them so that they're specific to the senior commission. So I will be doing a formal training with everyone in January. But I wanted to provide that context for the conversation of the work plan so that we can start formulating what you would like the work plan to look like. One other piece, the senior commission and along with the other commissions will be doing joint meeting with City Council in February. So the goal would be to finalize our work plan by our January meeting. So it would be great to get as much completed here, but we will also have time in January to finalize it. But that would be where it would need to be finalized so that we can meet the deadline to provide it to city council for a joint meeting in February. I just threw a lot of information at you, so I can definitely answer any questions if you have that, but I can also turn it over for discussion as well.
Just a quick question. At this meeting with the city, at the meeting with the city council, what is it, we will know ahead of time what we're supposed to have accomplished? Or is it just a status report?
Great question. So we do have the completed work plan from 24-25, and that can be kind of shared with city council in addition to this new work plan that is going to be created. So it's usually a good time to talk about what has been accomplished, previous work plan, and then this is what the commission is now planning to work on for the next should say next term year, because it will go through September. So great question, and you will absolutely know ahead of time. I just know the general time frame. It'll be February. The exact date and time, I will share that a little bit closer to when that comes. I will probably have a good indication of what that will be in January.
That's a wonderful addition, and it frees us up a little bit.
Bravo. Thank you. This saves a lot of question marks.
Thank you.
And as always, my job as your staff liaison is to be here as a resource and to help navigate. So again, if there are ever any questions, if you're not sure, that is what I'm here for, to help navigate all of that. So if there are any questions as you get into a working pair or a subcommittee, again, the big thing to remember and the difference is that the ad hoc committee is kind of the umbrella for the larger project. And then the working pair should be a very specific task within that maybe larger project. Okay, so I can turn it back to the commission so that, and if you note, I have done, filled in a few things that have already started because we had one specific task or project for transportation. Social participation, that was in the October timeframe, and I thought with the creation of this new work plan, we can close that out and start anew with maybe a specific project. And then we have the larger one, which is another topic a little bit later in the meeting, which is the health fair. So that has already been pre-filled on this particular one, and now it can be open to other projects you would like to fill in.
When will we have them? When will we have a copy of that partially filled out?
It was in the packet.
Seven and eight in your packet.
Those are on my computer and in my computer.
So,
Yeah, so I do have it as large as I can fit everything on the screen. I do have it up here. And if someone does need a copy, I'm happy to share that as well.
so we have a task at hand, and we have 4 out of the 7 answers. How do we complete the task with us?
The ones that are here.
Speak loud. Use the microphone. Paper. Oh, the paper, if we're finished. The work plan paper.
Does someone else need a copy?
They need a copy. Thank you. Because we need to.
Oh, this is the original. This is the original. Yeah.
What was your answer, I'm sorry, Jamie, to my question about the priority. Are we having a scoring system? How is that? What did you say about that?
So it could be, and that's something that the commission can decide on, and depending on the assignment, you could potentially be working on things simultaneously, depending on how you, divide up the work, or you could decide to look at one particular thing. The one other suggestion I will have, again, 8 domains is a lot. And correct, so we technically have 9. Something to keep in mind is that the work plan should represent what you're gonna focus on for the next 12 months. So basically, we're in November, so this is through September of next year. There may be things that you want to try and achieve long-term that might go past that time frame, but the work plan should really focus on what you would like to try and achieve over these next few months through September 2025. So I just wanted to preface that's what the work plan should address.
I think that the, yeah. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. We need to have the action plan approved, so we see what actions we're gonna do the first year. Because this is gonna be based on that. So at least we need that one sheet, you know, to have, you know, not an example, but this is what we're putting forward to the council. We're not getting it back again. It's going soon, right? November.
That is correct. I have another update, which was in the packet, but the action plan is on consent for city council November 12th.
In November, did you say? Or?
November 12th.
November, right. So we're in November now, and I think we need that last page, you know, we need to have each domain, the last page, because we need to see the activities. We already planned them. So it's gonna help us pick out what we wanna do. So I think we need that in front of us, really. I didn't think of it ahead of time but I didn't know only 4 people were gonna come. I don't think the number really matters that much, but we need that information. What do you think? What do you guys think? Remember how the action plan finishes up with all the things we plan to do?
In order to, present,
Do you want to have it?
I can carry,
Okay, speak out.
in order to do a credible job reporting to the council, we really need to know what we have done and know enough about what that was so that we can mumble intelligibly.
Right, and we all have a copy of it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big, you know, packet of stuff. Whether I don't think we had it printed. Some people did print it, some people requested that you give a copy of it. And it was it's all the work that we've done for months and months and put together already. Do you see, I'm trying to make this connection. Does anybody follow me? Does anybody follow me? Would it help? Don't you think it would help us to pick out what the activities, what we're gonna do? Because that automatically prioritizes it.
If we have done,
Some of them, we could tick them off.
well,
Some of
are
them
you
we
proposing that we look at to-do list for this next calendar?
Right, because we put out a 3 to 5 year plan of what we're gonna do based on the data that was collected and analyzed by Anne of, you know, the important things that we were gonna do under each domain. And so I'm just saying, it would help us a lot if we had that last page. Can you pull it up? Do you have it on your computer, do you think, that you can pull up that last page, just so we can, so they can get a sense of what I'm saying? It's not connecting.
So which page are you referencing,
Okay,
Jane?
so in the action plan, it's the last category. Let's see here.
The action plan was supposed to be for age-friendly, city.
It was supposed to be what?
Was for age-friendly city, if I remember correctly.
Right, so, but it includes all the domains.
Certified.
We have, I don't know, I was gonna ask the Oracle whether we have, certified or not.
Well, it's gonna go to council, so it's not, it's gonna be in the consent calendar, so.
Correct. So it is a two-step, to get final approval. The first part is, a resolution by city council from, our Los Altos City Council. And then it goes back to AARP and the WHO for final approval. So once we get that, then everything will be completed. I don't know the exact turnaround time. I actually just spoke to Ann earlier today. I can find out what the turnaround time is, at least on the AARP, the WHO timeframe. But we will have those two steps to get through before the action plan is final.
I would like to make a motion that the senior commissioners are notified regardless of when the approval of the age-friendly city action plan. Do I hear a second?
You don't need to do a motion for that.
I want to make sure it's agendized. In your agenda.
No, absolutely. And so follow up, as far as an update goes. I'll be able to update the commission on that. But Jane, Chair Cohen, is there a specific page that you wanted me to bring up?
Starts at page 45, and it's on, in the table of contents, which says appendix A. I never know, I'm going to tell them what the topic is, the generalized topic. It's appendix A, but the topic is age-friendly projects to consider.
Oh, you're talking about the spreadsheet.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It is the spreadsheet.
So that's gonna lead us in the right direction. These are the things that were anticipated from the data that was collected of what our residents need. Is that correct or no?
It is a compilation of feedback that we got both from the focus groups and town hall, in addition to, some information that came forward through the survey as well.
The action plan had various, proposals to do. And so that's the action plan, so that needs to be submitted to the council for their approval and then up to Art. Do we, as a senior commission, get to choose priorities of those things that have been, proposed?
So I think it's gonna be a collaboration, so there are a number of things, that were listed in the project spreadsheet that staff is going to be working on implementing. In addition to, some things might be slightly longer term. And so that could be where the senior commission, it would be helpful to get support, in looking at some of that. I think it might be good for the commission to identify some of those projects that they're interested in addressing over this next, term year. And then in January, we can clarify what staff is going to be working on and where the senior commission can then help support as well too. So I think, and let me bring the, project spreadsheet up.
it also points out, how much we need a certain area, that we need certain areas focused on more than other areas. And there are these, on page, just for example, 66, it's talking about livability index. Yeah, we only came out at 55, our whole livability, so that's like all the domains combined, correct? Does that?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is that how they fill it out? Is that how they come up with the livability index? They use our scores on the domains and they come up with this?
So it is, if I remember correctly, and Anne probably, and actually I just got, I heard from Anne today, our score actually did go up. They have adjusted what that median standard is. So we were at 55, we actually are technically at 58, which is a higher score. It went up, which is, which is good. I believe it is based upon some of the standards across that they've created, and then based upon, some of the, feedback that is received in relation to that. That's how some of those numbers were,
Well, they provide a median score
correct.
against which they measure our.
Correct. The project spreadsheet is specific to the feedback that we received. And so it does, it outlines the domain. It talks about what is the specific unmet need. And then it has a brief description, and some additional information. And then whether it's a long-term or short-term goal.
Thing that you're projecting, what is that exactly?
So it is, an attachment to the work plan, or I'm sorry, attachment to the action plan, too many plans. This project spreadsheet is an attachment to the action plan that was created by CAFE, which that's what we, took a look at and approved at the last meeting in October.
It's another document that we don't have with this,
Correct,
and we did see it?
correct.
What's the title of that?
So is this the sheet that you were referencing, or is it a different one?
I've seen this before.
The sheet where it laid out the strategies for each of the domains that we have to work on.
Oh, okay, you were probably,
I don't
Okay.
really see it in here, so.
so then it could be, what you might be referencing is this.
I have to refresh my memory again, because I read this quite a few weeks ago. And I think it would give us some really good, clean, things that are based on data, which is my favorite thing. So I don't want to be off doing stuff that we don't need here. And this is why we did this, to point out, the things that we need to fix. I mean, the thing about housing we did great. And, but it's bad because no one new can move into this area. So it's kind of weird. That one is a terrible example, but,
That's the lowest score we have in housing.
right, but we score high in it, but people can't move in. And let's pick another one, like transportation, which is pretty common across most senior areas wherever they live. As people get older, their transportation opportunities are reduced. So, that's a challenge that we have here, and I think that came out in the data. So that would be one area that we want to focus earlier on things we need the most. That's the way I see it, prioritize it. I have to go back and really look this through.
Well, if you look compared to the median, we're
What page do
really,
you want? What page?
page 67, we're really low on housing.
Right.
Actually, we're higher on everything except, environment, whatever that's supposed to mean, we're a bit low on that. And engagement, whatever that is.
The social participation, I think
Yeah.
that is. What was the first one to the house?
Housing, we are at 28, the median is 56. And then on environment, we score 50, the median is 59. On engagement, we're okay, slightly over, so it's not bad.
I'm not sure because I'm not a statistician, but to compare ourselves to a median doesn't make a lot of sense to me because a median is just 50% this way and 50% that way. So the fact that on, engagement, we're 49 to 45, it's very similar. I don't know what the statistical significance would be. But the point is 100 the highest, and we're still only at 49. You know what I'm saying? There's data we don't have here. Let's see, is there anything on the bottom that points to what it actually means? Do you know, Bill? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and, I recall actually reading this as well as the slide that you had, before, and, there's some hand waving going on here that doesn't give me the kind of information I would need to know whether to prescribe a drug.
I'm not trying to stall here. I just want us to go in the direction that makes sense, that our community needs. The reason we did this whole thing is we want to identify the question, the research question. What does Los Altos, what things does Los Altos residents need to help them have the best life they can have here? And so that's what I think we should focus on, those areas that they don't quite have the best. Those things are the most important. And then we can do those first and then we can put some other things off. We can mix it a little bit and blend it. But I do think we should focus on the most needed areas.
These data are population-based. It's not the input from people who are dissatisfied. I think that we should listen to the squeaky wheel and use the information gathered from the focus groups as to those issues. I'm pleased that we are.
That's a good point, because a lot of this data, I mean, she says it's from all the different things. It's from the task force, it's from the focus groups, it's from the community survey. So the general data that we had, like a random sample, as random as we could get it, is just just the general population. But the focus group did, because we went to all of them, really could identify, but that's very skewed too, because that's just maybe the complainers that came. Who knows who came? We don't know what characteristics they have either, but it does give us a little bit different sense of stuff.
You're cogitating.
What should we do? What should we do?
What does the Oracle have to say?
Timing is interesting. And I only say that because we won't probably know until we could leave it to January. That will allow the action plan to be finalized. And then you could use that as assistance. I think my suggestion might be you're not going to be able to address all 8 domains in the next few months. And so it might be good to have a discussion on what particular domains you would like to prioritize. And I think to have a small discussion now on potential projects once the action plan is finalized, you can either amend some of those projects in January, once everything has, it's been approved and finalized. But I think it would be important to have some of that discussion now so that you can focus in on some of those areas and then look to finalize those projects in January. To leave it fully for January, that's a lot of work that would need to be done in that particular meeting. And I think you would do yourselves a disservice if you left all of that work to that next meeting. So I think, it would be good to see what areas you would, yes, to look at what you would like to focus on. And then you can work to finalize that once the, action plan has been approved.
Back to the AARP in January. And
That part I'm not sure. And so I will follow up with Anne to see what the turnaround time is like. I know there are, as Anne mentioned, she is working with 5 other cities on creating action plans. And so, AARP is the US organization that works on behalf of the WHO to approve these. So I don't know what the turnaround time is. I can follow up and find out.
So, but I do think that makes sense what Jamie's saying, just, we're shooting from the hip, but we got good hips, right? So let's pick like a couple things that we think you're either very interested in working in, or we think are the most important, the most urgent things that would help Los Altos. So would that work for you?
Yeah.
You guys? Would that be okay with you, Chris? Okay, so you wanna?
Can we vote?
Oh, yeah.
No, vote on personal, what are my favorite 3?
Oh, wait, I was gonna get some papers I could write. Yeah, we can, that's a good idea. We don't have, we can just say out loud what you wanna do. Just say out loud. What do you wanna do? What's your favorite? Bill?
First, transportation,
Hold on, I gotta get my paper. Jamie's phone.
because that is
That's your
key to everything that happens. If
Okay.
people don't have transportation,
Okay.
then they're stuck.
No, maybe you have an idea of which one you want to work on?
Yes,
No,
You wanna
I,
pick three? You
yeah.
can pick three? Okay, go ahead.
the second one is parks,
Parks.
because that is something that we can accomplish.
So that's outdoor spaces you're talking
Outdoor
about,
spaces.
domain 1, correct? Yeah. Okay,
Then parks are under, okay,
outdoor spaces,
and then our healthcare,
okay,
is
so that's
a global,
8.
and I am, through confession, a little bit prejudiced toward that time.
You're not in a religious place right now, you don't have to do confession, right?
But I can ask
Okay, that's
for
great.
forgiveness, can't I?
Who wants to go next? There are 3. Okay, no,
I want to preface it by saying, as I mentioned last time, my husband and I just moved into a senior retirement community in Los Altos. And, there's a bunch of seniors in there. And they don't know anything, I found out, to speak of about any of the programs. They don't even know where the community center is. So
at Bridge Point.
yeah, and I talked to the director of Bridgepoint, and he agreed to give me a speaking time during his weekly meeting, so that I can, describe for them what we have in Los Altos and how to use that stuff. So I guess I would say I'm interested in certainly communications and information.
Okay.
The other thought I had was that they have transportation at Bridgepoint and also at the terraces. They have beautiful little buses that they take people in cars. Can we get some of that for the transportation to help out, And he seems, I think that's a good
So
idea.
you want that on your, you want,
So,
communication on your list and you want transportation on
Yeah.
your list?
I mean, I don't see the difference between communication and social
Well,
participation.
they really, it's completely different, but
Okay.
that's okay, that's fine. There is blending, I have to admit, there is blending, I'm not discounting what you're saying. So, so if you wanna pick something like that, you could pick like domain 6, social inclusion. Would,
Yeah, that's
would,
social
would that cover it?
participation.
Would that cover it?
I'm looking into it, so. Social participation.
Social
so-
participation
so
is
let's see,
one,
Means that communication information.
I mean,
Right, put those down, but this is
it
the
seems
third
like
one.
we need communication in order to get people to participate. They don't know what it is.
Communication.
2 out of the 3, you know, whatever it comes in.
Yeah.
So
In the public.
what did you say your third one was gonna be?
Well, I had thought communication and information,
I have that down.
social participation and transportation
Okay,
would
social
tie in with what I think would be a good thing to focus on for me with all the
Domain 4, social participation, okay. You state it like that on the word and social participation.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. Chris, you wanna pick yours?
Personally, I wanna do social participation
Mm-hmm.
and then, communication. And that's all I wanna do.
Okay, my turn. Does everybody over there get to vote too? No. Okay, I wanna work on, well, I wanna kinda keep similar, because we're gonna work together. So, right?
And we've got the whole year, so we can choose the top
And we can
And
move,
then
and we can
we
move,
move things
we can
down.
move too.
later on.
And we'll see what the other people wanna do too. Okay, so I would like to do respect and social inclusion, domain 6. And then I wanna do domain 8, community support and health services. Anybody wanna make an adjustment? Okay, so what should we do? Who's gonna do this? Bill, you gonna do the numbers for us?
Excuse me?
You gonna run the numbers for us?
Oh, I got it here.
I don't run anymore.
I think we're not gonna cover all.
We can't do all of them though.
We're not
So
gonna
we just
cover
wanna
all.
know.
Transportation, at least that I heard, was voted.
That 2 people wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm, and those were your number ones.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
Go
The
ahead.
2 of you wanted to do transportation as your number 1.
Okay.
And I apologize, but I was not
What'd you say
tracking
the
what
second
your
one was?
favorites were.
Social participation is by 2 people. So that'd be number
My
2.
number 1 and Nomi's number 3.
Right, but it's just 2 people wanna work on that topic, so we can put that just as it doesn't matter the priority, it's just,
Funnily enough, it says that's completed, so,
No, but we're moving on, that's from last year, so now we're moving forward.
so that 2 people are interested in that area, so that could be another one that we do, that we focus on.
That will be,
social participation.
Sequential transportation, 2 people wanna work on that, and 2 people wanna work on social participation. So that, those would be the 2 highest priorities. I mean, that's what people wanna work on, so that's why I'm saying they're the highest.
And so, now that it sounds like the commission has kind of identified some of the domains. The important part is now to think about specific projects. So we're not necessarily going to assign 2 commissioners to a domain as we used to. It is gonna be related to a specific project. So as an example, since Commissioner, Buckholz and Trapnell mentioned transportation, maybe it is, exploring, maybe some of the possibilities or interest between Bridgepoint or Terraces. Maybe it is something that they, encouraging some of their, if they have, participants that maybe want to come here to the community center or where some of the other programs are happening, or maybe where some of those, that's just an idea. So with the next part is to kind of start looking at those potential projects. Or, yes, and then the easy one.
For 1 month, come back and have your results from that, so then you can move on to something else.
But the overall arching thing is explore transportation, that's the main project, and then you have.
And so you
sub-projects
could
under that.
absolutely create an ad hoc committee. But if you remember, the ad hoc committee that does tie, it can be up to 3, but that is gonna tie those individuals. They wouldn't be able to do another ad hoc committee. They could do another working pair, a smaller task. But the ad hoc committee is more of that formal action. So as an example, and again, I'll use the health fair. That one's already kind of been, that's a bigger project. And then you could assign an ad hoc committee for that. Then you could do smaller working pairs of like, okay, Commissioner Olson and Commissioner Cohen are going to work on a flyer, or Commissioner Trapnell and Commissioner Buckholz are gonna reach out to vendors, or we're gonna look for donations, or we're gonna look for, so again, smaller tasks can be for the working pairs. And I think it's great, there is some synergy between what the commissioners are looking to, the interest. So it's great that there is some cohesiveness there. The next part is to start looking at some specific projects. So you don't have to find all of them now, but it would be good to identify a few so that we can at least have a direction for the next few months.
Since we already know.
I was gonna say, since we have decided we are gonna do the health fair, I think
We should
we should
pick this one too.
put
Community
that
support
on
and
as
health.
number 1
Right.
and get
Going on
that
it.
going on that, and then, be able, because transportation, I think, is gonna be a long one. You can do a small plan, group, whatever, the twosome to go look at potential options. But because we've already agreed to have a health fair, that should be priority. And then, I know we're gonna have discussion on what month and what days are available and look into that, but, and then to determine exactly who we want as vendors. But I think that should be our priority at this time, because we've already committed to it. And
It should be included in one of the ones we work in the earliest, because we've already,
I think we should
Yeah.
have an ad hoc committee on
Right.
that.
So
because
that'll
it's
be the
that
third one
important
we should work.
because-
so that would fall under community support and health, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
That would certainly be my
number 1.
number 1.
All right, so we'll move that.
And so, would you like to select from the people who are not here and just appoint them?
I don't think we have to prioritize them, say, we're just gonna put them down and work on them.
Correct, you don't have to assign people quite yet. What you can do is identify ideas and projects, and that, again, this is a living document. You could put forward what the commission thinks are good projects to have. It'll also give you some time to digest, and once the action plan is finalized, you will have January to come back and finalize. So you can digest what is discussed today, project-wise, and then we can come back in January to put the kind of the bow on top before we meet with city council as well.
Thank you for that suggestion, that was excellent. Good, so we'll have 3 things, we're adding the community, support and health, and the health fair is gonna fall into that. Okay.
Question
What was
on
the difference?
transportation. We had a speaker last time that was lobbying for having, what is it, ride share?
Is it the Roadrunner man? The Road,
Roadrunner. Is somebody working on that?
oh, Bill had a thing.
So no, great question, and that will come up a little bit later in the meeting as well. So we'll, there will be a specific update. Yes.
Is it possible to move to what, Chris was talking about, the health fair? Because it seems like we have some decisions to make about dates and times and things like that.
Absolutely. If we're, so does the commission feel comfortable? Are there any other areas? Again, it sounds like there's consensus that the health fair is the priority over this next, and then we can add. Okay. So then, yes, if we're okay with moving forward, I can give, the presentation on the, health fair. Yeah, okay. Let me bring up that part. And let me share my screen. Okay, so, this was, last discussed, in September. And so before you is a variety of, or just information. So, it was determined that the commission wanted to host a health fair in 2025, and the time frame was roughly the May to October timeframe for next year. So, many of you, were in attendance at the, October 16th event down at Grant Park as well. So that feedback can help, inform some of the logistics going into next year's health fair. So essentially, we looked at the 2025 calendar specifically for the community center here. And that would include the Grand Oak, which is the largest space, the Sequoia Room, which is what we're currently in here, and then the room across, which is Manzanita. So we have those three locations, so that there could be vendors. The other options that the commission expressed interest in were potentially presentations or other educational pieces. So the additional rooms of here and Manzanita would give some flexibility to do those options as well. Between that time frame, we do have some programming which would potentially limit when events could happen. Now, if there is interest to go earlier, it just means that programs might have to be canceled or moved. But those particular programs, we do host a jazzercise program in the morning, and that is usually Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And then we have a ping pong program here on Thursday afternoons. So with that information, staff is recommending that you, that if you wanted to select a weekday, a Tuesday would be better. And the event time frame could be noon to maybe 2 or noon to 3. That would be a recommendation. Or if you wanted to do a weekend, Saturday would probably be best. And I've listed the variety of Saturdays that are currently available. So there is one date in May, one date in June. There are 2 options in July, 1 in August. Most Saturdays in September are currently available, and then there are 2 dates in October. So it is open for the commission, and my recommendation is to select 3 different dates and times, and then I can finalize that in the calendar. So a priority, what is the first choice? If the first choice is not available, I'll go to the second and then the third. And I only say that because I pulled this information as of, I think it was Wednesday. last week. And so it could be that, someone reserved a Saturday. Cause residents have the ability to reserve, a date a year in advance. So that's why I'm suggesting 3 dates are chosen and you select a priority. Mhm.
I'd like to have a discussion first, if I could.
Oh, sure, we always discuss after we make motions, but go ahead, Chris.
Would love your input, because it was it was well
Attended.
attended, okay. If you'd like, I can do it too. Well-attended event. Everybody that I talked to really appreciated it, and would love just to get an idea of the square footage of that particular room and how many vendors were there. Just curious, because I'm thinking, you have the Sequoia, but you have these 2 rooms, which is not so bad if we could also use the pathway in the middle. So that way you have a flow possibly as well. And so just looking to see if there's utility there, to be able to have even more people. And so having this particular room in the center, which is easy flow, and then maybe vendors with food that could come and sell and people would stick around, you know. And so I was just, yours was so well attended. I know you had coffee and you had food and everything, and it was just, if you could remind me, I know the information was there, but if you could help me of how many vendors came.
At least 20.
We had 20, I think 26.
How many?
26.
What were the interactions between the vendors and the people who attended?
I think it was amazing. It was a fabulous event. However, there were too many people for that size room. There were too many vendors and there were too many people. It was really crowded, but there was a lot of activity. Now, we never could have done anything like that during the pandemic. I mean, it was a germ, spread. We need more room or less vendors, or some combination of that. What did you think, Lynette?
I thought there was opportunity for flow and it was enough space to move around. I didn't think it was problematic
A
and,
little more space, I thought it would be,
well, you have a bigger room here that you're dealing with, so,
It's like a kitchen, everybody goes in the kitchen, and when you have enough people there, you feel comfortable and you're gonna stay longer. And so I felt with all the vendors, people felt comfortable, you're waiting in line, oh, this must be really good information, I'm gonna stick here, and they took their time through. It was, I thought,
We're talking about this one, right?
Yeah, did you guys go to the event?
No.
Either one of you? Okay.
Well,
The Grand Park, yeah. It was great. It was a
Were
great.
there particular vendors who seemed to be most popular?
they were all popular. Everybody appreciated going, to the various vendors and to get information from any of them. They were all wonderful.
And we do have that listing of vendors, and so that would be available for potentially a working pair to reach out once the date and time is selected. We would be able to, do that for the vendors that participated in October.
so Lynette, thank you I'm so glad you're here. So how far in advance did you have to reach out to get these vendors? I know you started, but this way we can decide if it's May or if we need summer or October.
Oh, or a bigger room, which room we want to.
That too, right?
I just think it's important to have the date you choose and communicate it to them. It shouldn't be based on how many months it takes to reach out to them, because these people, that's their business. They're very, they're looking for these opportunities to conduct outreach. So you can choose the date you want to work with, and then, there's way more vendors out there that wanted to participate that I turned down and, you know,
Okay.
so if you have a date and someone else is not able to participate, there's 10 more vendors behind them or 20 more vendors that really, you know, I had to turn so many people down or let people know that I have a limit that I'm working with and these are ones I'm selecting.
And as far as space goes, at least with the different options, Grand Oak is probably going to be the largest space to have vendors and to have space. I was actually thinking of including all of the spaces. So it's not selecting one, so you could do the vendors located in Grand Oak. Then you could have a volunteer signage to say, you know, because the commission mentioned an interest in doing some either workshops or presentations. So that given the AV equipment here, that could be done here. Then if there is a food option or something like that, that could be in Manzanita. So you don't have to select the space per se. You could have access to all of that. Yes, absolutely, for the different, correct. So what is before you is to select at least 3 dates and a time frame. And then also, it's listed in the recommendation to create an ad hoc subcommittee. That would be kind of that overarching group that can help finalize some of these logistics once the date and time is selected. Then you can also create working pairs for some of the smaller tasks, as I just mentioned, like reaching out to the vendors or working on a flyer or looking for potential donations. Maybe you want to do some sort of giveaway, or maybe there's the health fair might be great to have a health check, so blood pressure, things like that. So maybe specifically assigning a working pair to finding a vendor that might be willing to do some of those health screenings here at once that date and time has been selected. Just food for thought on different tasks that could fall with the working pair, but then the bigger logistics with the ad hoc committee could be, you know, working on what that layout is going to be, or some of the more specifics for the larger event.
Question.
Yeah.
It seems like we should think about the time frame first, because we may need time to prepare. Plus the fact that maybe there are some months when more people are likely to come than others. And I'm not sure what that is, but I suppose August is a bad month, but
They have the dates listed on our handout.
yeah, but I'm saying,
Right.
rather than just picking the dates, we want it in
To maximize
September.
the attendance.
the month, the time frame.
I think that seems quite reasonable to do a month.
And it's also a matter of weekday versus weekend.
Yes,
And staff availability. I don't think you addressed that staff. So staff would come in on a weekend.
Correct. So, staff recommendation is, I know the commission originally was suggesting a Tuesday or Thursday. Given programming that is currently happening at the community center, a Tuesday would make more sense. And I will just say, the ping pong program, which happens Thursday afternoons, they have a tendency to be moved around a lot. So canceling or moving, that particular group can get a little upset when they have to miss a day. So that's why I'm suggesting that a Tuesday might be a better weekday to select here at the community center. So it would be a Tuesday or a Saturday that is a potential. Also recommending a start time of roughly 12 o'clock to give time for setup. So the event down at Grant Park was 2 hours. It was 10 to noon. Following kind of that time frame, we could do noon to 2 or noon to 3. I wouldn't suggest going longer than that, because then that's a lot of volunteer and staff resources. 2 to 3 hours is usually a good time frame. So those are, just from experience, recommendations for the senior commission to consider. So I think the first part would be to decide if you want to do a weekday or a weekend, and then to solidify the time frame.
I think that the audience whom we wish to reach, doing it on the middle of a working day is gonna exclude working parents. So a Saturday strikes me as much more likely to be equal opportunity for those who are retired as well as those who are working. And the noon to 3, that's 3 hours, that would be plenty. I mean, I just throw that out, not as an imprimatur, but what does the rest of the group think?
July, I think, is a good month.
Which July is a month we don't even meet, so people wouldn't be even used to coming.
Travel. The question. Again, is you have to figure out who your market is. So if we're gonna be doing the market that is 50s and 60s, I agree. But if we're gonna be doing the same type of vendors that were at, the other health fairs, there were, I don't remember seeing any 50 or 60-year-olds necessarily there.
How
So
old were they?
older. And so I don't think it matters then if it's on the weekend or the weekday, honestly. So if we're our first one out to shoot, I think if we do it targeted more for specifically of 65 and up, 65 and up, they'd be able to take off, I think, during that time. So I don't think it has to be on the weekend if we're gonna be doing parents or recently retired, you're then talking sports that are on the weekends during September. But, I'm just tossing that
Any of
out.
those dates.
Sure. So I think it's the, out of the chute, do we do similar and reach those people that are looking 65 and up for the services and the vendors and the discussions and the speakers and the potential food, and hone in there, and then the next go round, expand it.
Jane, what do you think?
I think the age, even though we call it 50s plus, most of our programs, the people are older than that. So, so that's who was attracted, to Grant Park. They're used to coming there for lectures, for lunch, for different stuff that we do there. And so I just think we should just pick 3 days. I like a Tuesday afternoon. That would be fine. I think that should be the first thing. That's my opinion. I think it's gonna be hard to get people to come in on weekends. They're not used to being here on weekends.
These dates are Saturdays?
They're all
Yes,
Saturdays.
you can select any Tuesday, and you can, provide a month that you would, be interested in. The 12 to 3 time frame on a Tuesday is easier. Saturdays, because those are, I will say, more highly, sought after for rentals here at the community center. That's why there's more limited dates listed for Saturdays, but Tuesdays absolutely provide more. So it would just, be a matter of which month would you like to hold it in, and then we can select a Tuesday.
can we pick a month?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I said, I think August is bad.
What month do you think?
July was one that.
July for Tuesday?
Yes.
So that's one idea, July. Is it
August,
on Tuesday, you're saying, or?
whenever she's got 28.
Any Tuesday is what
Any
she's
Tuesday,
saying.
so we just need
These
a
are,
month.
yeah, we just choose the month for Tuesdays.
The specific dates that you see listed are for Saturdays. I didn't list all the Tuesdays because that's a lot of Tuesdays. Yes.
I think September would be a great month. It's not hot, people won't be going, oh gosh, I have to go from the car to the air conditioning and hurry.
Is June too early for planning?
It might be, because we're gonna be working, you know, on a bunch of other stuff too, so, I don't know, what do you think?
In September,
I like the fall, I like
I
the
think
fall,
it's like,
I like the fall,
I vote for September, I just
September or October,
don't think
maybe.
it should be August. August,
No,
People
people
are traveling,
travel.
I think,
they have vacation,
and we're, yeah, everything.
July, September.
September, Tuesday, September.
September,
Or early October, and we're gonna just pick 3 Tuesdays. Do you wanna have one Saturday or anything?
No,
I withdraw the
I
idea
don't think it's.
of working first.
so you have the 9th through the Tuesday, yeah, Labor Day is on the
These are
first.
Saturdays.
Labor Day is on the 1st of September, so skip that Tuesday.
Well, yeah,
So then you're talking 9th, 16th, 23rd. 23rd is Rosh Hashanah.
okay, with the 9th and the 16th look clear? For holiday stuff?
Yeah,
When's Rosh Hashanah?
the 23rd
Okay,
and the 30th.
okay, so then. so
9th,
for Yom
16th,
Kippur. Okay,
30th.
so the 9th and the 16th on a Tuesday. And you want one more date? Are you okay with this, guys? We're plugging along here.
Yeah,
And then, and what about the, let me
I
see,
show nothing, 23rd is Rosh Hashanah.
but Yom Kippur is always a week after, it's not coming up?
I don't know, it would.
Your call. Okay, and what about an early October date then? What are the October dates?
We have the 21st of July, 7th.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have, I bet we'll have another cultural event on Diwali.
Yeah. So
Okay,
then-
Diwali,
and-
is that October? You were looking,
October,
okay, so the 7th of October,
is the 3rd date.
Okay.
that's the 3rd day.
So I have, it seems like consensus, the September, October timeframe, the 9th or the 16th of September, and then the 7th of October. Okay, so I will look at those 3 dates. Yes, 9th or 16th of September, and then the 7th of October as the 3 dates. So I will look at scheduling, and confirm, and would you say priority-wise, September on top? Okay, so I will look at either the 9th or the 16th, and then the 3rd priority would be October 7th. And it sounds like consensus, the 12 to 3 timeframe. Okay. And then the second part is you don't have to form one now, but is there interest in forming an ad hoc subcommittee to work on the
Yes,
health
there
fair?
is.
So the ad hoc committee, it would need to be a formal, action by the commission, and it could be up to 3 commissioners.
I have my eyes on a different project for my ad hoc, so I will be happy to be a pair of somebody's, but,
You're going to be an au pair?
but,
Yeah,
Nomi, you mentioned.
only for twins.
Well, I had picked transportation and communications, I don't know if that fits that.
We don't have to assign one right now. We can do it in January as well.
Because we're gonna have a cultural.
We do, yes. So for now, the biggest hurdle, has been decided. And so we can select the ad hoc subcommittee in January.
And don't forget, they start serving dinner.
Thank you all for your active engagement in that. Okay, really well.
So I think we are set for the health fair. Thank you for selecting those 3 dates.
So, are we okay with, the work plan for today, and that's all we can do? Oh, that's wonderful, because we want to move on.
Yep.
Okay, so, and the next one is the health fair.
We did the health fair already.
So it's mixed up in the work plan, but we didn't really move the work plan yet, but we'll do that in the next meeting. Okay, so then we're informational items?
Yeah. I mentioned this earlier, but the action plan is on consent for city council. No action by the commission at this time, but I will update once council has hopefully approved the action plan. And that will be next Tuesday, November 12th. It is on consent. And then I will keep the commission updated, hopefully once the action plan is approved. And then it'll be forwarded to AARP and the WHO. So I will keep the commission apprised as we progress forward.
Thank you. October 12th, you said?
November 12th.
Okay.
Sorry if I said October. It is next Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and what's happening on November 12th?
Yes, the action plan that the senior commission recommended for approval. Council is going to be considering that for approval.
That's different than the work plan.
Correct. Yes. I know, lots of plans.
It's gonna be on the consent calendar, so it'll go through unless someone pulls it. But this is what this big document that you got
Okay.
originally, this, what you have back. Yes. Okay. And nothing from. Okay, then we have flyers.
Yes. So I will do the general ones, and then leave, for Chris, but, Family Fun Day, so we had a wonderful attendance for October. The next one that we have will be December 14th, here at the community center. We'll have a winter wonderland theme. And then we are continuing to hire for a variety of positions to support our adult 50+ program and our indoor pickleball program at Egan Gym. We're always looking to have additional volunteer help. So if you know anyone that would like to volunteer with us, and for a variety of programs or special events, there is information there. And as I mentioned last meeting, we do have space in Tiny Tots out at San Antonio Club. So if there is interest, please feel free to forward that flyer. And I'll turn it over to Chris for adult 50+ specifics.
Yeah, inside your packet, you'll see 2 flyers for adult 50+ programming. You'll see one page that looks something like this. It's regular activities that occur kind of on a reoccurring weekly basis. And then the other flyer we're calling special activities, and these are special activities that occur, they could be one-offs or they occur quarterly or annually. It's a great way to quickly ascertain some of the upcomings and what to do, what going on with the adult 50+ program.
And then I'll open it up. Amina has joined us from Los Altos Hills. Amina, did you want to go over your particular flyers in the packet?
Yes, I believe I only had the barn lighting one. And as you see there, it says it's on Sunday, December 7th, but it's actually Saturday, December 7th. And we do this every year at our community barn. Everyone is welcome. We're gonna have a lot of festive treats and then a lot of activities for kids. We're gonna have a petting zoo. Santa will be there, so it's a great photo opportunity. And it's just a great way to bring the community together and see the barn light up.
Great. Thank you, Amina. That's it for flyers.
The next one is the Transportation Ad Hoc Subcommittee. We have a report. I think there was, we have their notes at the end of our conference. That you met with the road, you met with us, you know, how to put that road.
I submitted a letter, and it was in the packet.
We got your memo, your
Yeah,
notes from the meeting.
yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yes. And it basically comes down to, it was a business decision, not exclusively, money, but rather that, only the same people, a limited number, were coming, to use the ride service. And there were very few new people. So it wasn't, even though they had marketed it to the community. So, it seems like it was not greed that was motivating it.
The other update I will share in regards, I got clarification from staff. So at the last meeting, the senior commission, recommended that the, subcommittee write a letter. It was clarified to me that, the senior commission is just, advisory body, and city council is the main approving body. So the best course of action, and if the commission would like to do a letter, it would be a recommendation to city council to write a letter versus the senior commission itself writing a letter. The other option is that as commissioners or individual residents, you could write letters, which I know the subcommittee members did, I think, write individual letters. So commissioners could choose to do that, but if the commission felt that they would like city council to write a letter, we would have to agendize that for a recommendation for council to then write a letter in regards to the road runners. That's just if the desire is there, but as Commissioner Buckholz mentioned, additional information on why the program was adjusted was shared with the commission. So I just wanted to provide that update.
Bill, on your report, when you met with this gentleman, was he able, or did you ask him, I mean, it might have been embarrassing for him to show us numbers like how, did the numbers really go down, and was it that significant that they closed
I
that
did not
program?
ask to see the raw data, but he seemed like a person who was straight shooter. I had a sense of trust in what he was saying, so I believed what he said about just the lack of new people wanting to use Roadrunners. He may be a resource for our transportation subcommittee, because he is genuinely both knowledgeable about how transportation works, and I think that he would be willing just to be a friend who could talk to committee members.
That's a good idea, so.
And can I, before I got the YMCA to do chair volleyball with beach balls. It is a way, I think, of getting, particularly the 50-plus group together. The debut is on Thursday, the 21st at 11 a.m. So I would encourage each of us to encourage anybody we know who might enjoy the challenge. Because the only rule is you have to stay in your chair. That's the only rule. I mean, the rules of volleyball, so you can't hit it, in the next room.
Getting a little bit off subject, but we appreciate that. I know you sent an email, and if you want to give those around, you can, but.
Yeah, I'm basically what I
I
just.
thought you meant wheelchairs. I did, when I first read it, I read it a couple more times. But anyway,
Wheels, they go too far.
the reason I asked you the question about your report and the man who gave you the the information is that two people that work for El Camino, said it was all a money decision, it was completely financial, and this is so opposed to what I heard. But this is the head of it, you spoke
Yeah.
to the source. Okay, so, what can we do? Okay, thank you very much. Chris has to report under number 8, the Adult 50 Programming Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Chris, thank you.
Just to say, I've met with Bridget and Chris and discussed, the programming and potential spots for, of new programming if it warrants. I know Chris has been working on a way to account for the attendance, so that way we could really look into, understand the programs that are currently being used, and are they really, being maximized, or do we need to look at, other options for classes and, and gathering? So I just want to give an update on that.
Thank you. So it's an ongoing thing that you're checking things in. I was told that we're not taking attendance anymore for activities. What is the word on that?
The Adult 50 Plus program actually is doing a more robust. And it's tracking. Yeah, we're definitely tracking attendance, and that's part of the secret sauce about, do we do this activity or that activity?
Okay, so we are keeping track. Okay, so I'll go back to doing that, because I was told we don't have to do that anymore. Thank you. Okay, so then, we have future agenda items. Am I missing anything? Okay,
We have, work plan and health fair are the two big topics for January, which are pretty meaty topics.
hopefully we'll have other members here next time.
Yes.
Yeah. But when you send that memo, be sure to tell them that we already assigned them to 3. Okay, Lynette, you want to talk?
Before you adjourn, I did want to thank everyone who attended the senior health fair at Grant. So, and I hope it sets, an opportunity for you to learn and to help you as you put on your health fair.
It was a pleasure because I learned tons. I really learned a lot, didn't you? Yeah, it was great. We loved it. Well, that's like our.
And I want to thank the staff for their support.
Thanks for doing it. That was a lot of work, Okay, so, any other future agenda items that we need to attend to? Okay, I adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much for coming.
I think,
Need a